All right, got another quick one. I've been asked about how you can quickly down up an interface. Now, since we have an atomic type configuration with a candidate config and commits, the way you do this in configuration, as you know, is to set disable, and then you delete the set disable, and it takes you 2 commits to down and up an interface. And if you're on a virtual chassis, that can be quite a long time because it's got to do a commit check before it actually commits. There is a way to do it. It's not terrific because it requires root access, but it does work and it works very, very well. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here as root. And we're going to do this twice, once with the root account, once without the root account. If you log in as root, you get dumped right into the CLI. I'm going to go into my operational mode, show interfaces TERS GE000. I've got a Raspberry Pi plugged into this interface. We can see that it is up and up. Do a show configuration, interfaces GE000. Nothing to it. It's just a link, basically. And of course, I could do a set disable there and it would bring the link down. Now, if I exit from here, and I can only do this because I'm root, it'll drop me back to shell. This interface I can find if I do like if config grep GE000. Oh, I gotta spell if config correctly. It exists. And since I have if config, I can do this. If config GE000 down. And if I go back into CLI, show interfaces TERS GE000. Lo and behold, it is down. Now we do want to make sure we turn it back on, so we do if config GE000 up, CLI, show interfaces TERS GE000, and we're back up. We can run the same command without TERS. We should just see that it's last flap was probably just within the last couple seconds. Yeah, 15 seconds ago. So that's the way to do it. The way to do it. I've tried to game this by building scripts. I can't give them root permission, so I always just have to come back to being root. So you can do this as the root user, or if it's better for you, you can log in as a super user or a user that has permissions that allow it access to root privileges. And then when you start your shell, you just do shell user root. You'll get prompted for the root password, and you're back to where you were, where you can run the if config. That's the major caveat there, is that you do have to be the root user. You don't have to be logged on as root, but eventually you will have to have the root password handy so that you can get into shell and quickly bounce. Doing this from a virtual chassis versus a non-virtual chassis doesn't matter. Just make sure you get your interface numbers right, but it's the same as it is in the config, which is great because it wasn't always the case. It used to be that you have to find index numbers, but new versions of Junos, you just do the if config up down with the interface and you're off to the races. Pretty straightforward. Hope this is helpful, and if you have any feedback or questions, let me know.